Okay, today is February 5th, day 64 of juice fasting. This is going to be, the only reason I'm doing this update is because where I was with my 60-day update, it's a whole complete 180. So, I don't want to just show every time I'm feeling great and things are going great on this juicing. I want to show the other aspect to this. Now again, guys, I'm not using juicing as I'm not worshiping juicing. I'm not participating in socialization activities. I'm not going out to bars. I'm not keeping up with football. I guess right now they're getting ready for the Super Bowl, or it's in the playoffs or something. I'm not participating in sports. I could give a goddamn less what these idiot ass politicians in these warmongering countries like ours are doing. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't get into any of it. I don't want to know about any of it. I refuse to feed any kind of attention or energy into it. I've cut everybody off in my life. And my sole focus and purpose is to heal, to reclaim, to face and recognize things and accept things for what they are, and then process through, use my critical thinking and my reasoning and the faculties of my mind to come to my own conclusions, learn to trust in myself. So this is a whole process for me. So if you're on here, just trying to see, oh, well, what's this new update? How wonderful is juicing? It's the most wonderful thing in the world. It'll solve all my health and mental and emotional issues. No, I don't look at it like that. I've seen other people on the internet that do juicing, and that's how they treat it. They still participate in all the breads and circuses. They still participate and propagate all the slavery systems of going shopping and buying things and et cetera, et cetera. Keeping up with the Joneses, mortgaged out and, all that shit, and trying to make money and have a big fat bank account and, voting in these rigged elections and watching these rigged sports and, the whole nine yards. So what I'm trying to get across is, if you're just doing juicing for juicing and thinking that is the answer, end all be all, because again, juicing is the best way to do a detox. Juicing is the best way to let your body rest, because you don't have that heavy digestion with all those fibers and everything else. It's just straight juice. Juicing is the best way to fast without fasting, if that makes any sense, because what you're doing is you're being very easy on your body with digestion and giving your body that time and that energy to heal, as opposed to spend it constantly all day long when you're eating solid foods, cooked foods, processed foods, animal flesh, and those types of things, where your body is just constantly in digestion mode, and it just wears you out. And your cells have no time to renew and behave properly like they're supposed to, because they're just being constantly poisoned and bombarded. So juicing is the best way in that manner. But is juicing the end all be all to all the issues and solving the world's problems, and all these idiot ass vegans out there, the vegetarians, all these self-righteous, indignative, what's that phrase I'm looking for? Self-righteous, virtue signaling vegans, thinking that they've figured out the answers to the world's problems. Don't hurt animals. Yes, don't hurt animals, of course. That is a huge thing, because that definitely, participating in those industries that profit off of you eating animal flesh, the whole purpose behind those industries is not money. Money is always the face of the illusion. It's like, every time you start, you're like, they say follow the money trail, right? So where do you follow the money trail to? It goes straight to the meat industry. Well, the meat industry lobbies the government to be able to, push this into schools and into the forefront of the public for proper nutrition and all these different things. And then they spend billions of dollars on ad campaigns and everything else to delude you, through the dairy industry and the egg and the dairy industry and the meat industry, et cetera, to push their products, right? And then they tell you, well, look, we supply, 5,000 jobs in the Midwest, where if we just left, these people would all not have a job and go hungry. And so they play up all these things, right? So that the money is just the face of it. The true purpose behind them pushing animal products is to get your consent, your implied consent that it's okay for the torture and slaughter of other sentient beings on this earth. And the purpose of that is to put a wedge between you and your soul. They are trying to take your humanity. They're dulling your humanity. They want you to be an automaton. They want you to justify and reason your way through everything and not, face what, through critical thinking, what your actions are actually causing and perpetuating, which again is the complete, utter forced impregnation and slaughter, horrid living conditions and slaughter at early ages. Again, a cow's normal age is to 25 years old. We slaughtered them within 2 years. And in that 2 years, they are not living their best lives. They are being fucking tortured and abused, period. Pumped full of antibiotics and growth hormones and everything else and living a terrible quality life. They are enslaved. Completely enslaved. We are bringing sentient being, force impregnating. They put the hand in and force the semen into the cow, and then we are and all these other animals, and we force impregnate them, and then enslave them, pump them full of chemicals and everything else to make them fat and as quick as possible, and then are slaughtering these things as quickly as possible. And that's where the money aspect comes in, because they're like, well, we got to make a profit or it's not profitable. If we have to keep a cow till it's 25 years old, we can't afford to feed that thing. We'd have to charge $1,000 a pound for the damn hamburger. So, they come up with all these reasons, and then people just shut off their critical thinking and they go, yeah, that's right. And what it is that no matter what, just because it's not in front of your face and you're not the one doing it every day does not make it right. Just because you're justifying it because you've been told that you need these things for your nutritional needs does not make it right. Because that whole thing about nutritional needs is a complete lie. 100% lie. And if you guys haven't checked out Brandon Swink's channel yet, I suggest you go over there, because he's laying out some things really simple to understand on transitioning from these processed cooked foods, animal flesh, into raw foods, his purposes behind it. And he did an excellent video last week or a few days ago on how our cells work, how we came from a zygote, our parent cell, and that one cell, needing nothing outside of it, has divided into the trillions upon trillions of cells that make us, our bodies, up today. And those cells are constantly dying off like a rate of 100,000 fucking every couple minutes, or some uneven imaginable rate. These cells are constantly dying off and rebuilding. Okay, so, and they need nothing. These cells are self-contained. Okay, again, you come from one cell that divided into every other cell. Your liver, that made your liver, formed your liver, your heart, your spleen, all the organs in your body, your muscle, your tissue, everything, guys. These things, the biggest falsity we've ever been forced upon us is the fact that we need to put things in our mouth in order for our bodies to sustain. That is a 100% lie, just because the way the body works. And Brandon also goes into that video. I highly suggest you guys go watch that video. It was from a few days ago. I can't remember the name of it. Brandon, if you watch this, if you want to leave the name of that video in a comment, where you go over the cells and how they operate, and how these biology textbooks start off with the truth and then add, and like Brennan says, in 10 words, they can say exactly how the human body operates. But instead, in their introductions to their biology textbooks, they use 10,000 words. They put those 10 words in there because they have to give you the truth. But then they put all of their opinions and medical theses and theories and all this other shit in there. And what muddies the whole water is the whole that we've been toxifying. And the only reason our cells break down is because we are introducing poisons to them that are tearing that outer wall off and exposing them and draining them of their self-containment and their own nutrients. And then that's where the whole nutrition thing comes in. Well, if you have this, you have a B12 deficiency. If you have this, you have this deficiency. If you got this, you got this deficiency. And the only reason but they aren't getting to the root of it. They are obfuscating and not telling you and being honest with you on what the root of this problem is. The root of this problem is that we are intaking poisons to the body, and that's why that's even happening in the first place. He also goes into how Bruce Lipton, back in the 70s proved, he was the father at the forefront of goddamn, what is that called that he figured out? Epigenetics. So, above the gene, epigenetics, and how we aren't our genes. Our genes aren't what make us. We are all born with the same genes. It's just us who upregulate and turn on and off these genes through our minds and through our behaviors and through, our environments and cultures and social structures and, how we do to fit in and everything. But it's all literally just a mind game. So, Bruce Lipton discovered this back in the 70s, was doing this in the lab. He's the father of epigenetics. His research up until recently has been hidden and tucked under the rug. These guys do not want this out. These guys also don't want out all of these head lead experts that the media pushes and that your government pushes. Every single one of them hate that shit, the epigenetics part of it, and they hate the placebo effect. They have been doing everything they can to get both of those things just removed completely. Because it doesn't serve their interests, and it challenges their egos and their part of the social hierarchy, because they like being way up here and looking down at you with their nose up. So just, I wanted to take a note on that real quick and then get back to, so again, these vegans are just virtue signaling, all these diets, these people that go on carnivore diets, the only reason a carnivore diet works is because it's an elimination diet. When you do a carnivore diet, you are eliminating all the processed foods, all of the sugars, all of the artificial flavors, all the artificial, ingredients, everything. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chemicals that before you went on carnivore, your body was, utilizing. And because see, what happens is like I said, our bodies, our cells are dying at a rate of hundreds of thousands within an hour, right? Or whatever it is. And so what they're doing, our cells are doing, is they're using whatever so-called food we put in our bodies as building blocks for our bodies to rebuild our bodies. Whereas if we had not put that food in, our cells, it's called autophagy, and your cells would actually create new cells and renew itself. So it has its own process, but because we're shoving all this in it, our cells are using this so-called food, these chemicals in building our body, our tissues and everything else. And that's why we're having cancer. That's why we're having all these other issues, inflammation, et cetera, because these are foreign toxins to the body that aren't supposed to be in there, that our cells are utilizing as their natural function to just, as building blocks, because especially proteins. And so, it's all a scam is what I'm trying to say. And the only reason a carnivore diet or any other elimination diet works is because whatever those diets are focusing on as the main source of your intake for food is eliminating hundreds of chemicals and inorganic materials that your body had up until that point been using for fuel. So when you clean out, when you essentially go on an elimination diet, you're giving your body a break. Instead of dealing with hundreds and hundreds of chemicals, now your body, as in, with animal flesh, your body is now just utilizing a few chemicals. So it's a huge break to your body. That's why people see outstanding results. Again, I did a 4-month carnivore, straight carnivore, 1 meal a day, for 4 months, just carnivore, and it felt like I turned the clock back 20 years. But I knew there was something I couldn't put my finger on with this whole carnivore movement, and I was big into it. This was a couple years back, and I was trying to put my finger on it, and that's exactly what it is. The carnivore diet is nothing new. What they keep on doing, the carnivore diet's been around forever, guys. What they keep on doing is repackaging these things, because what happens is, it'll come out as a fad, and then people will get on it for like 5 years, 10 years, and then they'll start having issues. And then it'll slowly go away because they'll be like, oh shit, all the hype we gave to this so-called diet, it doesn't really work like that. So then it'll disappear or go in the underground for, 20, 30 years, and then all of a sudden they'll repackage it and someone will pull it back up, resurfaces it, and then you get all of these celebrities and all of these new medical people and everything else on board, and it's just a cycle, guys. History repeating itself. That's all it is. And so, you can't get caught up in these things. You have to actually get to the root of the issue. And I know I'm not giving an update right now on the fasting. It's coming, or on the juicing. It's coming. Give me a second. I want to set this up because I want this to be very clear. I don't want people to think that I'm pushing juicing as the end all be all and is going to solve the world's problems and, first of all, our own problems. Yes, getting on the fruit you will start getting your humanity back, because you will realize the abuse that you were perpetuating and propagating by participating in the enslavement and slaughter of billions and billions and billions and billions and billions. Guys, it's untold billions of animals that we slaughter every year in the world the number is so staggering. You're talking about trillions of animals every fucking day. That's how many. In all of these processes that go along with it, it's just staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And they try to get the common man who they keep working all the time to, because see, as a common man who eats meat, you don't want to hear this. You just want to be like, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, because you're so busy and wrapped up in your shit. You don't have time to critically think. You won't take the time to critically think, because when you're not working, you're hitting dopamine hits in order to take your mind and distract you and keep you going to work and slaving away and going on the hamster wheel. So these are things that seriously need to be thought about, guys, because again, juicing is great because you're starting to take your humanity back by not playing the game of participating in the inhumane acts of animal torture and abuse and slaughter. And then, by getting rid of processed foods, you're not participating in those slavery systems, with the minimum wage workers that's the only way these things get to you, and these huge grocery companies making billions of dollars in profit every year while their workers are just barely able to fucking put the food that they stock on the shelves in their bellies, and keep themselves on the hamster wheel. So just things to recognize, things to come to terms with. This is, a journey of finding the truth within, and quit listening to experts and then using those experts' testimonies and their words to justify your actions, and not think critically and not take responsibility or be disciplined. What else? I think that's okay. So let me roll right into this. So what's been going on with me? I did my update 4 days ago. I had three soft bowel movements since then, and I've had the last 2 days I've had solid bowel movements again. Again, guys, highly strained juice, double strained juice. I mean, just such a minimal to little no pulp in there. Nothing for my body to be, compiling and putting together as a solid, solid waste. So again, these are things that have been sitting in my system, and disease, making me at disease and discomfort for decades now, that are finally moving out of me. I want to touch on this. I wonder if I should do this in this video. It almost seems like I'm already at 20 minutes. Oh, should I touch on this video? Because, see, I'm getting brain fog again. I'm getting brain fog. So I went on a slew. If you guys haven't subscribed over there to Embodied Souls, I've put up many videos in the past week or two that'll really help you guys understand where I'm coming from and what I mean by this whole thing, and how this is a whole life experience and acceptance of what things are, and changing our behaviors accordingly, and our mindsets, and breaking free from all of our addictions, not just animal products, but the perpetuation and propagation of the slavery that's involved in it, and in the grocery industry, and in the clothing industry, and in the entertainment industry, the pedophilia, and you can call it Satan worship, Lucifer worship, anything, it's all just meant to pull us away from our humanity. That's all. It's all to distract us from the work that we need to do within ourselves. That's all it is. So I did a slew of videos on Saturday. Today's Monday. On Saturday morning, I woke up and I had been doing videos, I think, pretty much all last week. And then I woke up Saturday morning and it just rolled right out of me. I was I was in alignment. I was, the brain fog was gone, the clarity was there, the confidence was there, and I've rolled 4 videos out of me, almost 4 hours worth of videos. And as soon as I got done making that last video, I felt this like oppression come on me. And what that is, from what I can tell, because again, I've been sitting with these things, and I've been, I have a lot of time, guys. I've worked in the past 3 months, 2 months especially, I've worked maybe a couple days. That's it. So I've taken a lot of time for introspection, and to face my addictions, and to think critically, and to think through things, and to face my cravings for different foods, and face all these things, see where they're coming from, not running away from it. And so, I'm saying that I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Where I am at with my inspection of where this brain fog settled in at, late Saturday morning, early Saturday afternoon, right after making those 4 videos, was oppression. It felt like oppression. Okay. And what do I mean by oppression? Okay. Now I can get depressed, right? I can get depressed and down about something, that affects me and my emotions and my mental attitude and such. But the oppression comes from outside. Like, there's no reason for it to be there. Like I said, I was on a roll. Everything was going great. After I got done making that 4th video, I had several more in mind. I was contacting tons of people back and forth. And so I'm saying nothing in my environment changed that to the eye or to the ear. So something changed. What changed? And this is what I'm coming to the conclusion of. What changed was the oppression, which the only thing that makes sense is that it's coming from ELF signals. Again, you can watch Look Out for Charlie, his YouTube channel. He explains all of this. He has gone into this so thoroughly. There's no disproving it. It's just a matter of whether you want to get out from under your indoctrination and programming and accept what is completely 100% real, or if you just want to keep your head buried in the sand thinking that, your government and your experts and your health leaders and all the people on TV and your newscasters and your news stations and all of your doctor and all of these things have your best interests at heart. If you want to live in that fantasy land, you might as well turn my channel off now and not even ever watch another video, because that there's no space for that over here. Like, that is non-critical thinking, slave think, mindless minion downloaded on the program type of thinking that is far, far behind me and most other people who are watching this channel. So so Look Out for Charlie goes, he's been doing this, I think, at least 12 years online, but he's been and I imagine he's like my age, in his mid 40s. That's a guess. I would imagine he's around there. So, he's not a young guy. He's an older gentleman who, has been in the music industry, I think he said, his whole life. And music related things, sound. He's into sounds, right? And so he's got these things that break down noises and sounds and brings these ELF and these ULF, these ultra low frequency signals that are he shows how they're constantly in your house, just bombarding constantly 100% of the day. And so the only thing that makes sense to me is that so it would be a target then. If I'm all of a sudden on a roll, and this explains my, this now brings me deeper into how I see the way this matrix works, is that each one of us walking around has this signal that we give off, right? Because we're electromagnetic beings, guys. We give off an electrical signal. So we vibrate at this certain frequency, right? When you're a slave-minded minion and you're sitting there going to vote and you're getting all worked up about the media and the wars that they try to propagate and they're trying to sell to you, and you're getting all worked up about the, Democrat and Republican, you're getting all worked up about the dollar going up and down, you're getting all worked up about China or Russia invading, and you're getting all worked up about all the illegals coming over the border, and you're getting all worked up about everything, right? All that shit. That is the slave-minded minion. That is a certain frequency, and that means the Matrix has you. The Matrix could care less about you. They leave you alone. You do what you do, and what happens, and you're just a confused, downloaded individual that is pattern. You just are doing the same thing every day, thinking. You don't think. You're an automaton, so you're reacting, constantly reacting. That's all you know how to do is react. And by reacting, you're just going off the programming that's been in the propaganda and the indoctrination that's been instilled in you since birth. There's no critical thinking, no matter how much you think you critically think or think that you think at all. You are thinking within the box that they give you to think in. You cannot. It's impossible for you to see otherwise than what the government or the media or what you hear from other people or your experts or your doctor. You can't think anything outside of that. Everything you think has to be inside that box. So the Matrix doesn't care about you. Well, as you go on your healing journey and you start figuring things out and you start detaching and you start giving your attention, your time, your energy and focus to these things like rigged sports and rigged politics and rigged everything else and fake entertainment and fake news and all of that shit, your vibration changes. And the Matrix is an overlay, let's say, over top of all of this whole world, all of humanity, right? And so when you're and it's picking up the signals, and when your vibration starts to change, if it changes too much, that Matrix automatically has its checks and balances for these frequencies. So if you're changing your frequency different than that slave-minded minion state, what it does is it will activate, because see, those who are on that slave programming and those who are just, playing the game and living in the illusion and loving it, they are susceptible to the matrix control at any given moment. The matrix can at any given moment work through them to say, do, and anything, and they won't even, they won't remember, they won't, or they'll just justify it because they're so used to living in a fog, and they'll be like, yeah, maybe I did that, I don't know, who cares, and so the matrix will use them. When your vibration starts changing, it'll use your friends, family, co-workers, acquaintances to influence them to come over and say something you, or pull you in. Like, let's say you're quitting drinking, you're quitting animal flesh, you're quitting, smoking cigarettes, you're quitting smoking weed, you're quitting whatever, right? Your habits are that the matrix loved that you had that addiction because it kept your frequency where it needed to be. Well, all of a sudden you'll have everybody coming out of the woodwork trying to discourage and pull you off that path, and make you think that, oh man, you're going through one of those periods, you just need, come on out for the night. And they want to get you back on the program. That's the whole purpose. I'm not saying your friends and family and coworkers and acquaintances know what they're doing. They just know that, like an automaton, they get taken over. I gotta call Richard. And then, I gotta go hang out with Richard, or they haven't thought of me in months and months and months, and then all of a sudden, oh, Richard. And that's how it's working, okay? And because they're influenced, and easily, just like that. And the matrix takes them over like an Agent Smith, sort of, if that gives you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. So they come over and they try to dissuade you. So what I'm trying to say is I'm so far, my frequency is so far gone. It is so far out there. I've cut everybody off. I stay away from public places. When I go to the grocery store, it's in and out as quick as possible. I get what I need and I'm out of there. I go nowhere where a bunch of people are, because I see how dangerous this is at this frequency, but not being completely healed yet. How dangerous these characters can be to entice you to react still in your old manner, because I am still, by not being healed all the way yet, I can still very quickly, if I'm not on my P's and Q's when I'm out and about, I can very quickly react in a manner equal to my ego before, and fall back out of my critical thinking and out of my present awareness and into that reactionary state. So that is what's happening. Because again, I'm so sensitive after having cleaned my body up this far and cleared everything out this far. I'm so sensitive to, what is causing these things in me, that when on Saturday afternoon, after making those 4 videos, and I was ramped up, like I said, everything was perfect. I mean, my confidence level was through the roof. Things were just coming out of me. I wasn't even, nothing scripted. I'm just throwing it, saying it as it comes with complete confidence, clarity, no brain fog, energy, everything. I'm sitting there communicating back and forth with emails and comments and replies and everything else with people. And then all of a sudden, dude, it was just like the brakes got put on. It was like, and what that is that's those frequencies, because what they're doing is because they can target those frequencies with whatever message they want. So I would imagine, now this is just what I would imagine, but I'm sure it's along these lines of, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And he'll just repeat that over and over. But you can't hear it. You can't physically hear it, but it's being implanted into your subconscious. And it's all day, every day. Not just you're crazy, but you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it. Though things like that. Could you imagine that being at ear level where you're just hearing that all day, how that would affect you? Well, it's the same fucking thing, except for you're not able to hear it physically with ears. Now, there are people who are ultra sensitive with their ears, and their ears are able to pick up on those signals and they can actually hear it in their heads. Um, and this is a lot of the things you see, the shootings and all kinds of things that happen in the news where they say, I don't know what happened to him, blah, 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 blah. And, this person had been talking about hearing voices and everything else, and they call them schizophrenic and all that, when really they're being bombarded with voices. They're called voice of God weapons. When they're targeted, when the voice is actually hearable in the ear, I believe it's called voice of God weapons. It's targeted individuals. You can look up Havana syndrome, all of these different things. And of course, they make you look crazy if you say this, and they just want to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's all provable. I mean, it's 100% provable. So it's foolish. Only a fool would sit there and disregard somebody's testimony to these things and say, oh, well, he's lost his mind. Oh, he needs to go to a mental hospital. Oh, he's got schizophrenia. Oh, he's psychotic. Oh, he's this. That is the slave-minded zombie reaction to when they hear things like this. So again, all of a sudden I got this brain fog out of nowhere. I got my energy level I could feel it just being depleted quick as fuck out of nowhere. I mean, just like bam. And then my confidence just disappeared. And then over the next few hours, it just got worse and worse. And then yesterday I was having a really hard time. It makes me extremely exhausted and tired. I was getting cravings for food, but it had nothing to do with any kind of anything. It was literally these things getting put in my head, these thoughts getting put in my head. Again, what I would imagine these signals saying is, you're never going to have the comfort of cooked food again. You're never going to have the comfort of a home-cooked meal again. You're never going to have the comfort of a bowl of chili again, or however it's saying it. Because I was like having so bad fear of missing out, FOMO. Brandon did a video yesterday, I think, on FOMO. He was experiencing FOMO really bad yesterday or the day before, which is sort of weird. We were both experiencing this at the same time because I didn't know. Hadn't talked about this. I just found out watching his video this morning that was going on with him. So, and that's why it's important to keep this communication open, and why I wanted to do this video. His video inspired me because I realized that, man, that makes sense. If there's a bombardment of these signals, then, of course it would affect both of us since we both live in the same house. Now, he does get out a lot more than I do. I think he said his started at work. But again, there's targeted, you can be targeted with this stuff, So, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I don't see where else this would be coming from. Because with the juicing and with the constant, discipline and taking responsibility of being so, strict with my path of not, dopamine hitting and dopamine seeking and, running away from things and just confronting everything and being 100% honest about everything. Every day should be slowly getting better and better. But for it to all of a sudden just go for no reason, zero reason, out of the blue, while I had been sitting here, I didn't even move my body physically. I was sitting here that 4 hours and made those videos back to back, one right after the other. And then all of a sudden after that and I was ready to do more. And then all of a sudden after that fourth video, it was just like, I could feel it, just like a weird feeling. Something was going on. Oh, and an important point I want to make too is I'll get heavy ringing in the ears too. And that seems to precede that heavy ringing or that real dull. There's like a real dull sound that's very low, but that's there in the background, just inside my ear, but real low. that I'll get. And that I'm wondering if that precedes when they really turn up this targeting in my house, or on me with these signals. Um, yeah, because again, the oppression, I call it, I started to get depressed. So I was getting depression by oppression is what I call it, because the depression is the root that I'm tracing it to is from the oppression. And the oppression is something outside of me holding me down, and that something that I can't control as far as the ELF signals and ULF signals and RF signals, or that I have to trust myself that that's what it is, and confidently, know. And it's that way I'm not losing my mind, or going crazy, or dopamine hitting to take my mind off of these things, and it allows me to continue to face them. Yeah, just blacked out. Brain fog, brain fart. Uh, but yeah, so, this is an important video for me because, I really want to stress that, if you're just juicing, that's probably not going to happen to you. You're probably going to steady get better. If you're on carnivore diet, you're slowly going to get better. If you're on all these elimination diets, you're slowly going to get better. And, it might be getting better for you for a few years. And then all of a sudden you're going to start coming up with all heart conditions, all of these other conditions, guys, because even these vegans, that's great that they're not consuming animal flesh and they're not participating in propagating those systems of abuse and separating themselves from humanity in that way. But they're not even, their brain, they're in such a veil of the illusion that they aren't understanding that they're still consuming tons of processed foods, and they're eating all day, just feeding the beast within them, and operating off of a reactionary thing and not critically thinking. So yeah, all in that there, I'm sort of all over the place. I really just takes me trusting myself and doing these videos really helps me, get away from whatever these signals are subliminally putting into my head, because, when I just do and I initiate my will power and just do this, and just in confidence, and just, and allow that to, that brain fog comes and goes as I'm talking, and just deal with it and push through it, and just, because I'm going to talk. That is something that I'm still able to do. And, so that is a powerful thing that I will continue to do. And it helps me push through these things. And so I am trying to, right now work on consciously breaking out of this thing that I'm dealing with. So just an update there, guys. And yeah, remember to take care of yourselves, because nobody else will.